Hey, everybody, and welcome. Today we're taking a deep dive into something that's got me pretty fired up, honestly. AI and arts funding.
Yeah, it's definitely a hot topic right now.
Yeah.
Lots of potential for AI to really shake things up in a good way, hopefully.
And that's what we're going to be digging into. We're looking at this company, AI Innovisory, and they're doing some really fascinating work with small arts organizations, specifically with grant writing. They've had some pretty impressive results.
Yeah, their work is really interesting. It shines a light on this huge problem in the arts right now. Just this lack of resources, and especially when it comes to navigating the grant application process, which, as we know, is not always easy.
Oh, man, tell me about it. It's like you're constantly juggling a million things at once, right? You got productions to put on, staff to manage, and then on top of all that, you got to try to wrangle these grant applications, which are never short and sweet, are they? It's no wonder that so many of them are just barely hanging on.
It's true, and that's where AI Innovisory steps in with, kind of a fresh perspective. Basically, they create this custom AI system for each organization. It's like having a personalized assistant that is laser focused on, getting them funding.
Okay, so walk me through this. What do you mean a custom AI system? How does that actually work in practice?
So imagine, you're a small theater company, you've got this great track record, put on amazing shows, you're super involved in the community, but you just don't have the time or people to chase down every single grant opportunity out there.
Oh, yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, exactly. So AI Innovisory swoops in and creates this system, right?
Hmm.
And it uses machine learning, which is, essentially teaching a computer to learn from data. And in this case, it's analyzing your past grant applications, your programs, even your budget, and then uses all that information to identify these potential funding sources that you might not even know about. Oh, and then it also helps you tailor your applications to perfectly match those funders' priorities.
Wow, so it's like having a team of expert grant writers, but instead of a team, it's AI.
Yeah, and it lets the theater staff actually focus on what they do best, making art.
So this theater that they worked with, they were in a tough spot, right? What were some of the specific things that they were dealing with?
Well, they were, the definition of a classic case. Super passionate about the work they were doing, had this fantastic outreach program, offering free workshops for kids and discounted tickets for families, things like that. But they were drowning in paperwork, really struggling financially.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, it's already hard enough to just keep a theater running. It's trying to do that and find the funding. It's like having two full-time jobs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because they were so short-staffed, they could really only manage to submit like one, maybe two grant applications a year, even though they knew there were other opportunities out there.
So they were missing out on funding simply because they just didn't have the time or the people to go after it.
Yeah.
Well, that's really sad to hear. And unfortunately, not all that surprising in the arts.
Yeah, it's true. But that's actually what makes this case study so interesting. It shows how AI can, maybe help even the playing field.
Okay, I'm hooked. So AI Innovisory steps in. They've got their custom system. What happens next?
Well, that's where things get really interesting.
Okay, so AI Innovisory comes in with their custom system ready to save the day. What did this AI actually do?
So the important thing to remember here is that AI, at least in this case, is really about efficiency. It's about finding those hidden opportunities. Like instead of this theater company having to dig through, tons and tons of potential funders, the AI does it for them. And it does it so fast, it can analyze all this data, right, with grant databases, funding trends, all of that, and it figures out the best matches for that specific theater and what they're trying to do.
So it's not just about churning out applications, it's about finding the right application, the right opportunity for them.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And here's the best part. The AI can then help them tailor their applications to those funders. It's almost like, having a secret weapon that can speak fluent grant proposal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. But did it actually work? Did they get more funding because of it?
Oh, yeah. Remember how they could only do one or two applications before?
Mm-hmm.
They were able to submit 18 with the AI.
18. Wait, so that's like what, a 900% increase?
Pretty impressive.
Hmm.
But it wasn't just about how many applications. The quality went way up, too. The AI analyzed past successful grants and kind of figured out, what worked. It helped the theater write much stronger applications.
Okay, so more applications and better applications. That's incredible. But let's talk numbers. What did this actually mean for their budget?
Okay, get ready for it. They had a 60% increase in funding.
60%. Are you serious? That's huge. That's not just like keeping the lights on. That's the kind of money that can totally change what you're able to do.
Exactly. And that's exactly what happened. This funding let them do things they could never do before, expanded their community programs, hired more staff, even upgraded some of their equipment. It was huge, not just for them, but for the community too.
I love it. But what about the people, the staff who were doing the grant writing before? Were they replaced by robots?
Not at all. If anything, it was the opposite. Now, they didn't have to spend all their time on grant applications. They could focus on the things they were passionate about, working with kids, engaging with the community, all the good stuff. And of course, putting on great shows.
So the AI didn't replace anybody, it actually made their jobs better. I love that.
It's a really important point. This isn't about getting rid of humans. It's about using technology to open up new possibilities.
Giving artists the tools to, actually do their art. So this is all amazing, but is it just, one success story? Can this type of AI solution actually be used to help other arts organizations who are struggling with the same problems?
That is the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
And the answer's not simple. There are some challenges to think about.
Challenges, huh? Like what's standing in the way of, getting this kind of AI into the hands of more people in the arts?
Well, one of the biggest things is, honestly, how customized it needs to be. Like we said, that system was built for that theater. The programs, their history, everything. And to do that on a larger scale, you'd need a ton of data. And it would take a lot of, tweaking and adjusting to make sure it actually worked. It's complicated.
So you can't just like copy and paste this AI into another theater and expect it to do the same thing.
Right. Every organization is different, right? They all have their own needs, their own strengths. So the trick is making sure the AI is flexible enough to work for all of them.
Yeah, that makes sense. And what about the cost? Creating these AI systems can't be cheap, right? Especially for organizations that are already struggling to make ends meet.
Yeah, that's the other big one. I mean, this kind of AI, it's still pretty new. So yeah, it can be expensive to create. But hopefully, as it becomes more common, the price will come down. That would be great to see it become more accessible.
Yeah, I hope so. The possibilities are really exciting. But let's, think bigger picture for a second. This whole AI in the arts thing, it's kind of wild when you think about it, right? I bet some people are a little unsure about it. Like, can you really use technology for something like art, which is so human?
For sure, for sure. Anytime there's change, it takes some getting used to,
Yeah.
especially with something like art, which is so personal. But the thing is, AI isn't about replacing human creativity. If anything, it's about giving artists even more power to create.
It's like instead of a paintbrush, you've got this high-tech tool that can do even more, but it's still the artist's vision, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And by taking care of those boring tasks, like grant applications, it frees up artists to focus on what matters, the art.
So it's not just about easier grant writing, it's about changing how we think about art and technology together.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that's really cool.
Totally. This whole conversation has been really amazing, and it makes you wonder if AI can do this for the arts, what else can it do? Education, healthcare, so many possibilities.
That's what I'm saying. We're just getting started with AI. Who knows what the future holds?
It's going to be an exciting one. Well, that's about all the time we have for today's deep dive, but I want to hear from you. What do you think about AI and the arts? Let's keep this conversation going. Until next time, stay curious.